did you grow up when you were little?
I grew up down in the Florida Keys, specifically in a little town called Tavernier, which is in between Isla Morada and Key Largo.
When you were little, did you go on family vacations ever? Not necessarily off in another state, but just in Florida?
Yeah, we would typically take family vacations. My grandparents lived up on the west coast of Florida, so we would go visit them quite often. And then during the summertime, we often would take some sort of trip. A lot of times it was out of state. We went to all sorts of different places: Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Kansas, just to name a few of the places that I recall us going during those trips.
Where was your favorite place to go when you went on family vacations?
My favorite place to go when we went on family vacations was probably to northern Minnesota. We would typically take about a week and a half and head up there every 2 or 3 years. We would spend time in the Boundary Waters Canoe Wilderness area. So we would go camping as a family, and then sometimes our extended family, my aunt and uncle and their kids would join us, and it was a fun time. It's a time in my life that I really look back on with a lot of fond memories.
What were some of the things you did in your neighborhood when you were little? Like street hockey?
No, we didn't ever really play street hockey. The things that we did mostly in my neighborhood with all the other neighborhood kids that were my age, we played a lot of street football, and we got a lot of skinned knees and skinned elbows because of that, because we would always play on the street. So if you got tackled, you're going down. We had a wooded area that was across from our house, so we would go in the woods and play in the woods a lot. We would go back there and cut down small trees and carve swords out of them, have sword fights. Played a lot of tag and hide and go seek in the woods. We also built a lot of tree forts. We had a whole system back in the woods of tree forts that were connected either by like rope ladder or swinging bridges and everything up in the trees. It was pretty cool.
When you got older as an adult, where was probably the most exotic place you've ever been to, travel-wise?
Right. That's a good question. Probably the most exotic place that I went to, I would say, is the island of St. Lucia. That's in the southern Caribbean. My wife and I went there, it was about 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago.